appreciate the wicked beanie. Thanks. Hi, it's Mitchell, if you didn't know, and I've got a bit of a bad throat at the moment because, you know, it's getting colder and I'm loving it because I think, generally speaking, I look cuter in winter, but it's taking its toll on my voice, so bear with me. These babies are coming in handy, I'll give you the tip. Not sponsored. So you might remember a few weeks ago me posting a video about some little treat on a bus that called me, the F word, and I don't mean fuck, I mean, begins with F and ends with agate. He called me a faggot, plain and simple. You can go watch that video on my YouTube channel, but it was actually on my Facebook page where it got the most amount of traction. It was like over 1 million views, I think. And it's funny, I actually went out on Oxford Street the week after that video was made, and this guy at a gay club says to me, "Oh my god, are you that guy that made the toenail polish video?" And I was like, could it be true that after all this time, like, I'm finally shedding the Bogan Gate Guy title? Actually, that's not true, because that same night I got called the Magpie Guy, which was definitely a new one, because on my Facebook page I posted a video when a magpie got into one of the rooms in my house. If you haven't picked up on it already, basically my Facebook page is the place to be. Like, that's where all my best performing videos are. Not that I'm not glad to have you here on my YouTube channel, hi, please stay, but also go check out my Facebook page. But anyway, I'm so off track. The faggot video, yes, so Triple J, the radio station, spotted that video and they asked me to come on their program called The Hookup and join their conversation about feminine guys versus masculine guys and all of the challenges and discrimination that comes within that. And obviously they took one look at me with my nail polish and thought he is a solid representative for Team Feminine. Wow. There's a plane flying over at the moment, isn't there? I thought I could ignore it. I'm actually moving out of Aislinn's place in a few weeks, so planes flying over my roof probably won't be a problem anymore. If you didn't tune into that Triple J interview, here's what you missed.
The Hookup with Hannah Riley on Triple J.
We're talking about effeminate men on the show tonight, and joining me is Professor Maria Polaciciroli and YouTuber Mitchell Coombs. Mitchell, thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
So, first off, how would you identify in terms of your sexuality?
I am gayer than Christmas, to tell you the truth. That pretty much sums it up.
And you actually grew up in a small rural town of Bogan Gate. Could you tell us a little bit about Bogan Gate?
Well, if you take a map of New South Wales and you pinpoint whereabouts you think the centre of New South Wales is, it's around about there. It's a town of 200 people and I grew up on a farm.
200?
Yeah, only 200.
So what was it like growing up there being gayer than Christmas?
Well, I wish I could tell you what it was like to kind of be really flamboyant and feminine when growing up in the country, but I kind of kept it to myself as much as I could when I was growing up. It wasn't until I moved to Sydney that I really kind of embraced those qualities, because when I was still living at home, and it was actually when I made a video of me giving a tour of Bogan Gate, and that was the first ever video that I uploaded solo to the internet, and ended up notching up collectively 3 million views. So, and just within that video, I was just wearing a plain black shirt. I didn't have my nails painted. I wasn't being terribly excessive. And within the comments, people were saying, like, is that a boy or a girl? And so you would think that that would be, like, you know, daunting at the time, which I guess it was in a way. But also I kind of viewed it as like a bit of a wake-up call. I was like, I'm not even trying to express my femininity at all in that video. I'm as plain as I've ever been, and people are still picking up on my feminine side. So I was like, I may as well embrace it, which I'd always wanted to do, you know. I had daydreamed of like being able to sport, you know, painted fingernails.
And you have some beautiful green ones and some bangles now.
Yes, the jingly bangles.
I'll have to get the shade name off you later.
Yeah.
And so how long ago did you move to Sydney?
This will be my 3rd year living in Sydney.
And was it almost immediate for you? Was it kind of like a breath of fresh air and like, oh, I can finally be by myself?
For the first year, I was still quite anxious. It's really only been within the last year that I've really settled in and become more comfortable with myself, I think.
Dr. Maria, I think we've got a bit of a text for you. Actually, Barry called and he said there's a problem these days because there are too many effeminate men and no one's willing to do any hard manual work. And I've got a quote that says they're all feminists. I'm not sure is there a collaboration between a femininity and the ability to do hard work? Do they go? Are they incompatible?
No, I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, it weirds me out. I've been doing this research for decades, and it's just crazy how people are so hung up on saying, well, I can be sensitive, I am communicative, I don't have to have the big muscles to be really strong. You know, we've got to get over this thing about, you know, what it means to be a man, whether you're in gay, straight, bi, whatever, trans, queer.
Mitchell, growing up in the country, what was expected of you growing up as a man in those sort of terms, like for work or how to prove your masculinity?
Well, when I was in high school, the assumption was either, you know, one of two paths, you go to university or you get a trade. And I didn't really want to do either of those things. So I was kind of out of the ordinary in that sense. And of course, growing up on a farm, it was expected quite often of me that I would want to help out on the farm, help Dad with things that needed to be done, manual labour and such. And I'd like to sit here and defend the stereotype that feminine men don't like doing manual labour, but I'm actually guilty of that. I hate it. If Dad asked me to do something, I would look him dead in the eye and say, "Hello, nails, I don't think so."
We're getting
people like, guys like Mitchell might have sisters who go, let me do
that's
tractor
absolutely
stuff.
the
Let me
case.
do that.
Did you have sisters growing up?
Yeah, my sister was way, way more hands-on, way more useful than me.
So, Mitch, why do you think that people both in the straight and gay community sometimes struggle with men who don't fit into that mask box?
I don't know, and I didn't foresee that being a problem. Like, on several occasions, I've had other gay men criticise me for the way I am. I've had people say, both in person and both on apps like Tinder and stuff, things along the line of, "Oh, you know, we're gay for a reason. Like, we're not attracted to women, so why are you trying to be one? Like, it's not attractive."
Wow.
And I'm like, I'm not trying to be anything, you know? Like, and just because, like, if you have a type and your type is masculine men, you know, hats off to you, whatever. But just because I don't fit that type, like, I don't care if you're not attracted to me, but I'm not going to try and adapt to what you find attractive, you know?
I don't know if you're single. Are you single, Mitch?
Yeah, I am.
So I'm assuming, you're a millennial, you're probably on a dating app.
Correct, yeah.
Have you seen much, there's a bit of a trend in the queer community on apps of this thing called mask for mask or no femmes?
Yeah, particularly on Grindr, which I've deleted because it's just not for me. It's just a little bit too much.
Yep.
But yeah, particularly on Grindr, I just thought it was an app for gay people, but then even within that, there's like specifics. You can like tick which tribe you want to be a part of, twinks and masks and et cetera, et cetera.
That must have been kind of annoying and confronting after you take the first step of coming out, and then you're like, oh shit, there are all these subcategories that I need to, you know, come out into as well.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, which one? I thought that was the job done. Tick, come out, found my community. Oh no, there's still little subcategories.
Professor Maria, thank you so much for joining us, and Mitchell
Thank
Coombs,
you.
thanks for being with us as well.
My pleasure.
Now, I wasn't the only person that took part in that segment. It went for like half an hour, 45 minutes or something, and there was heaps of insight from professionals and callers and things like that. So if you want to hear the full podcast, I will pop the link down in the description below. So I fucking loved being a part of that conversation because like it was something that I'd experienced, but I didn't realise that it was like, you know, a thing that people talked about, you know, gays discriminating against other gays. I get hate comments from straight guys all the time. Like 9 times out of 10, when I get an ignorant comment on Facebook or YouTube, the person has like a car as their profile picture and the name is fucking Glenn or something like that. Actually, I know lots of lovely Glens. That's really unfair. But yeah, I'm used to getting shitty comments from straight guys, but I don't know. Coming from another gay guy, it feels really weird because I feel like some people assume that being part of a minority gives them a get out of jail free card for being a shithouse human. I assumed stepping into the gay community of Sydney that instant acceptance was just an unspoken rule. And like 99% of the time that is absolutely true, don't get me wrong. Like I've gone gay clubbing, I've gone to gay parties, and like gay people are like some of the loveliest people you will ever meet. But there are still so many people that seem to subscribe to this belief that masculine is superior to feminine, and that like, it blows my mind. I don't get it. As a kid, I was always choosing the girls' toy at Macca's. I was always playing with Barbies instead of trucks and things like that. And people assume that the country is like a conservative place, but everyone around me, they just allowed me to be that way. I was the most overly confident fucking child ever. I remember once saying to Mum, I was like, oh, has Dad ever said anything to you about, like, me not being more masculine? Does he wish he had another son that was into football or, like, getting his hands dirty? And she was like, no, what the fuck? Like, of course not, don't be dumb. It was only when I was like 10 and my parents moved me to a fucking Catholic school that I developed like hideous anxiety, and I just suppressed all of those feminine instincts, I guess, because like the kids around me just
being different was just too much for them to handle. So I feigned an interest in fishing and football and collected those stupid fucking football card things. In hindsight, I really, really wish that I didn't give a fuck during those years, because from like the age of 10 to 18, I wasn't that feminine. Well, obviously I was, like I just naturally am, but I didn't feed those instincts. I had the worst nail biting habit ever, like worse than normal nail biting habits. Like I had like multiple band-aids on my fingers at a time. And so when I look at my fingernails now, by the way, the nail polish is drying, that's why I've got my hands in this pretentious way like Nicole Kidman. When I look at my fingernails now, it just like, it sounds really dumb, but it just means so much to me that they look like this now, because that to me is like a sign of progress. Like these nails, it's not just me showing off and being feminine, like it represents me not giving a fuck anymore. And so for some dickhead masculine bloke to be like, oh, why do you paint your nails? Like men don't do that. Like obviously, why would I latch onto that comment at all? And it wasn't like this big magical moment where I decided to not give a fuck anymore. It was a process of like probably 2 years. I still remember the first time I went out in public with my nails painted. I was like shitting myself. It would have been early 2016, so last year when I was at uni, and I just remember people looking at my nails. I could see them when I was on public transport and stuff, and I was just worried about what they were thinking, but I knew that painting my nails was something that I really wanted to do, so I just like ignored it, put my brave face on. Delta Goodrum quote, fuck me. And so slowly but surely, I just genuinely stopped giving a fuck, but a lot of it was faking it till you make it, like just pretending I was confident and didn't give a fuck about having nails painted, and then eventually I don't know, I tricked myself into believing that. I seriously feel like that phrase, fake it till you make it, is actually the key to confidence. I used to be a mad cynic about it, but it's seriously true. That's all you have to do. Even in the last month, I started wearing these yoga pants because I thought that they were cute as shit, and like, even though they were advertised as unisex, they're typically quite feminine. I think we can all agree with that. And again, I was like shitting myself when I first went out in public with them because I just didn't know how people were going to react, and of course, no one reacted, no one said anything. I only got compliments about them, so that was nice. But again, I was shitting myself at first, so I kept persisting and wearing them in public and ignoring what I was thinking and going on in my head. And here we are. I wear them all the time. I don't give a shit. I don't even think twice anymore. And every time I overcome a barrier like that, like I dare to do something or wear something a little bit feminine, I can literally like feel myself just becoming that little bit happier. If I'm going to be super duper honest with you, there have been times that I thought, because I enjoy being feminine so much, I wondered if that meant that I could be transgender. Like, that was a very real question I was asking myself at one point in time. Obviously, the conclusion I've come to is that I'm not transgender, because generally speaking, transgender people don't feel comfortable in the body they're in. Like, they feel trapped, and I don't feel that way. Even though I do kind of see myself as being pretty gender neutral anyway, I'm perfectly comfortable identifying as a guy, like he, him pronouns, all that, provided that I have all these typically feminine elements thrown in the mix, like, you know, painting my nails, and I wear women's fragrances, and I have these bloody bangles and just things like that. And like, without them, I don't know, I feel naked. Like, I don't feel myself without those things, because gender, sexuality and expression are all like completely different things. Like, my gender is male, my sexuality is queer as all fuck, and I just express myself as being quite feminine. And yes, there are overlaps between being gay and being feminine, I realise that, but they're not rigidly tied to each other, do you know what I mean? Like, being male doesn't lock you into being masculine. You can be straight and feminine, or you can be gay and you can be masculine. It's all interchangeable, and that's not the problem. The problem is that people don't let people be who they are. Like, I don't go to masculine gays and say be more feminine, so when masculine gays come to me and say be less feminine, I'm like, go fuck yourself in the face. I don't really let comments like that actually like damage my confidence, because like, for the most part, I'm surrounded by so much acceptance that it doesn't really leave any room for insecurity. Like I said, my parents have always let me be whoever the fuck I want, and like, these days, if I do anything vaguely masculine, my friends are the first one to call me out on it. Like, I drink a beer and they're like, what the fuck you doing? You're feminine, that's why we like you. And I'm like, get out of my face and let me enjoy my beer, bitch. Anyway, I think that about wraps up my little rant. The sun is literally going down, so that's my cue to shut my fucking mouth. If you want to keep the conversation going though, feel free to do so in the comments. Let me know your thoughts and I will respond, because if you hadn't noticed, I'm mega passionate about this, so I feel like I could talk about it all day, but I'm not going to talk about it all day. I'm going to shut up now. Thank you so much for watching. Catch you in the next one.